guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a story titled, My Wife Slapped Me Last Week, So I Left Her. Everybody says I'm overreacting. And a big shout out to Ash for sending me this story. And guys, what we have here is a situation that's definitely interesting. We got a guy here, he's been with his wife, married her for 10 years, and been with her for 15 total. And you're going to see that this isn't the first time that she hasn't struck him. That she did in the past, as you're going to about to hear, and the guy gave her a warning. A serious warning, do it again, and we're done. Well, you're going to see that went in one ear and out the other. And now this happened later on in time, and now this guy is kicking her ass to the curb and divorcing her. However, you're going to see, to no surprise, nobody's on his side. It's amazing. Friends, family, even his attorney is questioning whether he's overreacting or something like that, which in my opinion, you should fire that attorney. But anyhow, guys, you're going to see more about this. But this begs the question, is in fact the guy overreacting? Because we all know darn well that the situation was reversed, right? And the guy hit the girl. Well, everybody would be all over him as a bad guy, and he would be. And they'd be telling her to divorce him, right? Anything. But if the situation is reversed, well, then he should just take it. Or he should just be a man and take it, or some load of crap here. But anyhow, I'm going to get more into it as we go on here, and I'll let you guys decide for yourself in the comment section whether him leaving her is warranted, and he's not overreacting, or he is indeed overreacting. But I have a pretty good idea what you all are going to say. So it starts off, he says here, me and my wife have been together for 15 years, married for 10. I'm 38 and she is 40. Well, there's a problem right there. She's older than him. About 6 months after getting together, she was around my dog and kept picking my dog up. I told her to stop as he doesn't like it. She ignored me. I took him off her and put him in the kitchen. As I walked back to the living room to tell her that I wasn't okay with what she did, she pushed me down on the sofa and then slapped me so hard across the face, I had a handprint-shaped bruise for 3 days. At that time, I was an amateur heavyweight boxer. I can take a punch, but that hurt a lot. So right then and there, should have been over. Okay, nobody should be striking anybody else in a relationship. And by the way, let me make this clear. I'm not an advocate for hitting the gals, okay? However, if somebody puts their hands on you and strikes you, you got every reason to defend yourself, okay? In terms of like throwing her off or something like that. Because we all know darn well how the laws are set that if a guy even went that far, there'd be some people that think that he deserves to go to freaking prison. And we all know it. So you can be very careful in this situation. But if someone puts their hands on you, attacks you, you at least have the right to defend yourself. But there's a difference between throwing someone off. When I say someone, you know what I mean. I got to speak in code here on YouTube. Versus giving them an ass whooping. Right then and there, should have been over. And you never, by the way, mess with another man's dog. Any dog, but especially a man's dog. He should have ended it with her right then and there. I kicked her out and she seemed incredulous and couldn't understand why. What do you mean understand why? She smacked him so hard across the face there was a handprint on his face for 3 days. Shoved him, then smacked him. A few days later we were talking and she apologized and said it will never happen again. Well, we've heard that before. I told her if it ever happened again, I'm leaving her, and it was continued assaulting me, and I wouldn't hesitate to defend myself, and I would never lay a hand on her, and I expect the same back. He's an amateur boxer, and he's a big dude, amateur heavyweight boxer. Believe me, that dude can do some damage. You do not want to mess with that guy. Fast forward to last week, and she's not hit me since. And we've had a good relationship with far more ups than downs. I was changing the brake discs and pads on her car, and her friend was with her. Her brake pads had worn right down to the metal, so as a joke I said while laughing, "How did you not hear the metal on metal sound?" It is amazing to me how you guys out there that have girlfriends and wives, how they will let shit go in their cars and not do anything about it. How many of you guys know I'm talking about? The check engine light could be on for 6 months and they won't do anything about it. Or, yeah, the brake pads are so worn down that you're hearing grinding of metal and they won't do anything about it. And this guy's obviously making a joke about this, and every right to. Without warning, she slapped me with her right hand and then with her left. But she was holding her phone in that hand, which hit me in the eye and cut my eyebrow. Her friend instantly ran over to me to see if I was okay. I said I was fine and went inside. This chick has got anger freaking problems. Good Lord. Again, this guy is the size to be a heavyweight amateur boxer, and she's doing this to him. But you know darn well she's just testing him to see what will he do, right? Right down there, it's over, in my opinion. Should have been over years ago. 5 minutes later, I walked back out with 2 bags of all my clothes and anything important that I could fit in. My wife asked what I was doing, and I told her I'm leaving. She said, "What the F over that?" And her friend told me to stop being dramatic. I reminded my wife that what I told her years ago, and she said I can't hold her to that as it was years ago, and I can't throw everything away over a minute loss of temper. Loss of temper? What would happen if the situation was reversed and he did that to her? Right? We all know. The police sirens would be a-coming. His ass would be dragged off to freaking jail. You know, we all know this. But if she can do it, well, then that's okay. It's bullshit. Nobody should be striking anybody else, and it's instant grounds for divorce, in my opinion. And of course, her friend has called him dramatic. He got cut on the eye from her damn phone. Since then, I've been living in a hotel. I've contacted a lawyer and will be going ahead with my divorce. The thing is, every person in my life, even 2 close female relatives who have been victims of that type of violence, have all said it's an overreaction. I've heard everything from don't throw years away over seconds, women slap men all the time, you're a big guy, it couldn't have hurt that much, and he says it did, you must have provoked her, etc., etc. Family, friends, work colleagues, in-laws, neighbors, and even strangers have all said I'm in the wrong. Even my lawyer said it's a bit drastic and to think about it. Not one person has told me I'm doing the right thing, and as weird as it sounds, I'm doubting myself for having no doubt if this makes sense. Where do I go from here with family and friends not supporting me? I can't bring myself to forgive and forget. So before I go to his update here, let me just say this. Everybody's against him. This is unbelievable. Like normally I would expect maybe some people to have an issue with it, but not 1 ounce of support. Even his attorney, who he's paying to represent him. Well, first of all, I'd fire that attorney and get a new one. And all the people, the friends and family and in-laws and co-workers that have a problem with this, I would tell them to go F themselves. And anybody that's not on his side, goodbye. End of story. You don't need to hear that. But again, if the situation was reversed and he cold-cocked her, you can imagine what would happen. It's bullshit. Get a new attorney, someone that's on your side, because after all, he's paying this attorney. Tell the family and friends, either you're on my side or we're done. I don't have time for this shit. And again, I would also point out to especially the family, she's acting violent. Aside from just striking me, how about the anger issues over that? You gotta be kidding me. Now, for the update. It says, first of all, I want to thank everyone for their kind comments and messages to my post. I got deleted pretty quickly due to being a new account and low karma, but it was my fault for making the wrong throwaway name. Thank you all again from the bottom of my heart. It meant so much. A lot of these guys find posting their stories and situations on Reddit really therapeutic, which is pretty cool because they get support from all over, good ideas. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of wackos on Reddit. I'm sure many of you guys are aware of this, but it can be helpful at times. He says an update. He says, well, 2 weeks later, I'm still divorcing. I still have people saying it's only a slap, and why can't I get over the slap? I can't get over the emotional hurt of someone I love wanting to hurt me. Exactly. I'll never get over seeing her standing there, eyes wide, teeth gritted, and hands balled up in fists, ready to lunge at me again. This broad has got anger issues. Now, yeah, okay, it was this time. What happens next time? What happens if she has a sharp object with her? Does she have to really, send him to the hospital for some of these people to realize this? What happens when, if we go back home to her and went to sleep that night and, I'm sure you all heard the story from almost 40 years ago of a chick named Lorena Bobbitt. And if you haven't, Google Lorena Bobbitt. You guys will know what I'm talking about. He could have a Lorena Bobbitt situation on his hands because he, God forbid, made fun of her inability to get the car checked out. She's been kicking off on social media. I don't have any social media, so all this came from screenshots sent to me. At first she said I left after a physical disagreement, but then a couple of her friends actually called her out for what it really was, so now she's been plastering our SCX life on there as a way to make me look bad. Isn't it amazing when they always go, it's a low blow, no pun intended. They'll talk about the dude, oh, you got a small this, or you're terrible in bed, or some bullshit like that. This guy did nothing wrong, and this is what she's doing. And they wonder why he's divorcing her ass. This is embarrassing to admit, but for clarity's sake, I will do. 5 years after we got together, I told her I had a hot wife fetish. She said it's not for her, so I never mentioned it again and respected that boundary. Well, now she's brought it back up and is telling everyone, trying to paint me as some kind of weirdo that she has to escape from. Of course. Look, everybody out there has some freaky thing that they're into, okay? Everybody, I don't care who you are, man, woman, whatever. Everybody's into some freaky shit, okay? But, so, give me a break. And anybody with a brain can see through some of this stuff. Luckily, it hasn't really worked as our lives are pretty entwined, so friends know how soft and basically a pushover I am. And my ex, from being my wife, even commented and said in 3 years, I never pushed her to do anything and was more the other way and a bit too conscious of her feelings. LOL. Says, I'm meeting with a lawyer today and going to discuss the house. I bought it when I was 21 years old and met her at 23, and she moved in at 28. Technically, it's mine, but she's lived there for 10 years and helped make it a home, so I'm not going to try and stiff her on it. After it's sold and the mortgage is paid off, I'll pay her car finance off, mine is paid, and then split the profit 50-50 with her. We have no kids or pets, so nothing else to split. Well, thank the Lord he did not breed with this broad. I went to view a rental property at the weekend and paid the deposit to move in 2 weeks. I'm self-employed, so going to have a bit more time off than crack on starting my life again. I'm slowly cutting people off who made out like I was the bad guy and in the wrong or aren't accepting the situation. Good for this guy. Like I said, anybody that's not on his side, goodbye. He doesn't need that shit in his life. He needs people on his team. My wife and her friends and family still message or ring every day, but it's not bothering so much now. They can't say anything they haven't said already. Thank you all again for your wonderful support. It was truly humbling to know that so many people took the time and effort to respond to me. Thank you. Well, bro, I'm glad you continued on. You stuck to your guns and you're divorcing this broad. He warned her. You all heard this, right? Now, like I said in the beginning, when she did that to him, that should have been it. End of story, walked away. Not to mention the fact that don't mess with a man and his dog. But look, people don't change. And she's got serious anger problems. Now, what I would say in this situation is this guy, he's 38, okay? Now, sure, he's not as young as he once was, but guess what? He's got his whole freaking life ahead of him. I'm 44, and I still feel young. I feel like I got my whole life ahead of me. I got to live to be 98, guys, okay? My dad passed away at 97. I'm of a second family. He was married after World War II, had 5 kids, the typical baby boomer, come back from the war and forget everything that happened and have a bunch of kids. That didn't work out. Got divorced, met my mom, who was 24 years younger than him, and had little old me in 1978. So I got to outlive my dad by 98. So I got my whole life ahead of me too. This guy can start over and have a darn good life. Got his own business. He can focus all his time and energy on that and move on. And I bet you by him not responding to her and the family, not giving what they want, it's making them crazy. So I think it's great and good for him. Now I'm going to read a few comments here. One guy says, good for you. The people telling you it's just a slap don't care about you at all. Don't accept physical abuse in any form, either from your soon-to-be ex-wife or anyone else. I wish you the best moving forward in the next phase of your life. Another guy says, good going and moving forward and sticking to your boundaries. The way she's acting right now is already telling you everything you need to know about her. You made the right call. I hope you update us one last time about the divorce and just to tell us how your life is going, and we'll be forward to satisfy our nosiest of Redditors. Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye out for an update here because I want to know how it goes. Other guy says here, and this is a little longer, he says, fair dues to you and people outside of your ex-marriage offering their input can go F right off. It sounds like things were unfair in general, and the slap was probably a good thing, because it literally slapped some sense and clarity into you. If you were a female in the same situation, the world would be telling you to get a divorce. She will now. If she has another relationship, maybe be kinder and more thoughtful. No, she's not going to change. She's 40 years old. She's not going to change. One thing, though, just be really careful with your assets and make sure you have a good lawyer to advise you, as divorce can get nasty when one side feels wronged. You seem to be giving more than most people think is fair to get a clean break, but draw a line on what you will give. Yeah, it sounds to me like this guy just wants to be done with her. End of story. And as I've said before, guys, a man can start over, a man can rebuild. He typically is going to get royally screwed in the divorce process, especially where he lives, because all states are a little different. However, man's going to get screwed anyway. But he can start over. He's got his own business. I hope to hell that she doesn't try to stake a claim in his business, hopefully, so he can run without her interfering, and he can start over. And now that he doesn't have her, he can focus all his attention on his business, grow it, and start over and have a great life. I just recommend that he thinks twice about getting very serious on any women anytime soon. And by the way, he says they don't have a dog. He can get himself a dog. There's plenty of great animals out there in the animal shelters that could use a parent. And last one says here, 3 stitches from the phone. She could have been arrested. Doesn't matter how big you are, a spouse should not hit. The more she runs her mouth and carries on will backfire as long as you let her behavior prove her instability. Just keep going and don't look back. Expect her to try to bring nonsense up in the divorce. Give your lawyer the heads up on her antics and follow your legal advice. Yes, listen to your lawyer, so long as this lawyer is on your side. Now, I don't know if he has the same lawyers before, and that lawyer shouldn't have been giving him shit. Maybe I'm overreacting to the whole lawyer thing. Maybe I'm reading more into it than it was, because the lawyer asked me he's overreacting. But assuming it's a different lawyer, or assuming that the lawyer got his shit together, yeah, listen to your lawyer, and hopefully everything goes smooth and he can start over here. But anyhow, guys, so let's hear your opinion in the comment section. Is this guy overreacting, or is this completely warranted? My opinion, he's not overreacting, and it certainly is warranted. If I were him, I wouldn't have gotten married. But if I were him, the second she pulled that shit the first time, it would have been over. But I gave her another shot, but years later, there she goes again. So let's hear what you guys think in the comment section. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, if you got a good story like to share, whether it's something in your personal life or a good article or story you come across, it'd be good for the channel, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time and I'll get to it down the road. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.